Okay, good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing great. We quickly go through the things that we have already covered in the previous session. That's about collections. First, I start with the slides that we have covered. The collections, the first link, it shows something in the Microsoft, and we have already got there in the video that I shared, and I hope that you had a chance to go through. They shared a joke that cup of tea, and that tea is generics. So the best is to use generics if you have a chance to choose between the collections. And here is the first example that we had. So var names equal to new list string. And then here again, for each var name in names, but a better version is replacing the first var with list string. And the better version, even better, is to say string name in names. If you hover the mouse over var, whenever it is possible, it immediately tells you, for instance, use integer. But whenever it is a little bit complicated, you need to use your judgment and find the type and replace var. Instead of using for each, which is a kind of modern version for collections, you can also use for. In that case, you can have the index I as an iterator to go through all the items. So here we just added some items like add Maria, Bill, and we removed Anna. And now the revised version after adding, removing would be something like this. And then, well, this is using the index. If I say, show me what we have in index 1, as you see, for it shows that we have Philippine index 1, and it shows that. And I told you already, if you hover the mouse, it's going to suggest you if it is easy. Otherwise, you're going to just use your judgment. And that is the second video that I shared with you. And that's the 7-minute video. Continues talking about the actions or methods that you can apply on your lists, sort, search, and so on by Scott. And then here, we just have index of Bill, find Bill in the list if we have, which we have, and that's in index 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. And if you search for something that does not exist, like my name in the list does not appear, so it shows that -1. And you can do a little better version by saying that, okay, if the index is equal to -1, say the item is not found, and then you say else if you can find something which is the index of the item, then say the names in that index is at index, right? The Japhet, one of the students in the previous semesters, code is something like this. It's I very much like it. He asked from the user and saved that into the search key. And then if the index of that search key, for instance, reza is equal to -1, then it says that we couldn't find that search key. Else it exists in the, we found that you can just add the index as well. By okay. I'm sorry, just a second. By using sort, we can sort the items as you can see. And by saying, we talked about Fibonacci, I'm not going to take your time. We have 2 items, so count is 2. 2 minus 1 is going to be 1, this one. And 2 minus 2 is going to be 0, which is going to be this one. So if I say previous 1 plus previous 2, it's going to add these 2 numbers. And if we add that into the list, it's going to be 1, 1, and then 2. And it's going to show it like this. And the challenge is if I say, let's have the Fibonacci series from 0 all the way to 19 index, it's going to be something like this, as long as the count of Fibo that I'm creating is less than 20. So I'm going to just show the result like that. And after that, we are going to get to the objectives of the original slides, which contains lists, dictionaries, hash sets, and so on. So what are the collections? They are data structures, kind of different from arrays. Array is a data structure that has a kind of fixed size. You cannot easily change the size. You cannot easily add something in the middle, something at the beginning of the array. You have to do lots of gymnastic movements to just make it work. So the collections are less expensive to insert items in the middle of the collection, less expensive to change the size, could be grow, could be shrink, and easier to locate a particular item. And we have two general major collections, generics and non-generics, which we show in collection, which is non-generics and generics, but we have concurrent as well that we're not gonna talk about them in this session due to the interest of time. We have now it's time for us to get to the samples that are provided in the collection list. So everybody, please go all the way to start from here. If you search, you can find start from here, and actually that's the end of responsibility of the start from here in the file. It's a slide number 26 that I borrow this Microsoft file. And it's about the collections and data structures. Please go through the items at your convenience. It talks about different types of collections, such as list, queue, stack, dictionary, linked list, a grandfather of all of these, and so on. The next, please watch this video at your convenience. And then here's the list in W3 schools. I'm not going to take your time to show. This is the code, a little bit revised version of the code in W3 schools. So everyone, please, for this part, use create console application. Next, let's say, make underscore op underscore session. Be careful not to delete the space between make and op. It turns to totally different class. Okay, so make sure that you copy this file. And then let's have that. I create a list. I create a list called countries, and then I add some items into it. You can just add your beloved country if they're not in the list, and then say for each country in countries, show the items. Okay. This should be the output. Sergey, we have your beloved country over there. Chokan, add Hong Kong to the list, please. Okay, do we have Ukraine? Dennis, you can add it. Okay. So after that, let's go to the next slide. Sorry. In the next slide, we use a dictionary, and please, at your convenience, go to the examples. I have already covered what you can find in W3 schools, but a better example is in Microsoft. If you go there, so you see that I said, let's have a dictionary called countries, and we have some indices and some values for those keys. Is it possible to have integer string or string integers and so on and so forth? Yes, it's not necessary to have string. The types could be varied. And the key value pair is something that we need to have here if we don't have var. This is something a little bit difficult to find. Yeah, so we don't have that much time, so I just already provided. It's a good challenge whenever we have time to go through it. So look at this one. It's going to show you the key plus space plus values, right? Just to see how it works. Add some fish bones here. And then run it again and see. Is it good, Arfa? Awesome. Okay. And for those who want to, good point, so I can just zoom here too. Okay. We are on slide 36. If you want to follow the things on the collaborations that I have already shared with you. For those friends who joined us later, I send the link once again in the chat, so you can open the file, and that is file number 28 txt collections. Okay. Let's go to the next topic, and that is hash. For hash, I hope that you had a chance to watch what is happening in the hash table, but I quickly go through the concept for you. Look at this one, please. Imagine that we have a list of people. We have a list of countries in this example. And what we are going to do is, if we just want to store them, if you want to store them, that's not a good time to ask for these questions. Please get into the... Yes. Okay. imagine that we have just these countries. So finding, for instance, Bangladesh among the countries is not that much hard. But what if we have thousands of names in our lists? It's not going to be very easy to find. You know what I'm saying? So what we are going to do, we are going to classify them into some groups. Like what? We make one formula, and that could be any fabricated formula, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we are going to have a group of 10 characters, and Bangladesh is going to be there. And how about this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Nepal, imagine that we are going to have a group that has 5, that they have 5 characters in their name. So Nepal is going to stay in that group, right? And India, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But wait a second, we already have Nepal for that. But don't worry, we are going to say India is going to be here as well. Okay. How about the next one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 9 is going to be for Australia, right? And so on. Let's just find another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Japan is going to be next to these two. Okay. The thing is, you might say, what is the use of that? Imagine that you have something like 1 million names in the list. So searching for 1 million names in a list is not that much easy. But what if you can classify them like adding the ASCII code of all these characters together and divide them, integer division by 100. That formula, something fabricated. So you're going to have 100 classes from 0 all the way to 99, right? In that case, you are going to put the names into different classes. You might say, okay, so what's the use of that? Then instead of searching among 1 million numbers, 1 million names, for example, you're going to find the category that you have those names, and almost in average, I'm saying in average, you are going to search among 10,000 names. Does that make sense? Did you get the concept of hash and hashing? The formula of hash could be totally dependent on your decision. We have some predefined hash functions, but that is what we have behind the scene using hash conventions. If you can understand hash clearly, please type 2. Just 2. Guys, look, you have 1 million names, right? These names, if you want to search among them, it takes a long time, right? What if you classify them based on the number of characters, right, that they have in their names, for example? So it's going to be from 1 all the way to, imagine that we have maximum of, let's just change the example, maximum of 15 character, okay? In that case, or let's just say 100, then we can easily divide that. We have a name that is just only you, for example, and we have a name that contains some parts. Does that make sense? We are going to divide the names into the categories that contain 1 character all the way to 100 characters. In that case, if you want to search for a name, you simply can go, if that name has 10 different digits, you're going to go and search among those. In that case, you don't need to search for 1 million names. You're going to search among almost 10,000 names. Does that make sense? Is it clear? Is it clearer? If yes, please, this time type 3. Guys, this is not the data structure course. We just want to have a very high level view of what is hash behind the scene. So when we see the name hash, we can understand that, so something is happening, making a hash table. So for instance, if I have Bangladesh, Nepal, India, and so on and so forth, it is going to generate something behind the scene that each of these guys, they have one index. It is not possible to have two Japans, right? Because Japan is already have one index. But if Japan, if the hash function is calculating the number of characters, Japan and Nepal and India, they have the same. They are going to be in one row. So I'm going to just go to the row that have 5 characters, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm searching for Nepal. I knock the first door. I'm lucky to find Nepal in the first. If I search for Japan, I knock the first door, says that, hey, Nepal is here, not Japan. India is here, not Japan. I found it. Japan is here. That kind of data structure. Guys, it needs something like 2 hours to go through this, but that's not the intention of our session, to go through the data structure. We just want to get familiar with it and start using it. So the next that we want to do, everybody please go to this hash, copy this one, Control C, and then bring it here. And then and please run the code and see if it shows all the names. Yes, the search complexity is really depend on the proper hash function that we define. Okay, one quick thing. What if I add Canada 2 times or 3 times? What's going to happen? I stop it and I run it again. The thing is, it's not going to raise any error. But if you see, we have Canada here, but the Canada that I have between South Korea and Mexico is vanished because it's already in the list. I don't have repetition in the hash. Okay, guys, if you could just work on this and you got the answer similar to what I had, please type 4. Thank you very much. Merci. And if you see here a better version, instead of saying var, I can just simply say string, because we have the table of strings. Bravo. Excellent. Let's go to the next part together. And that is countries. And you see that we have India and India. You know the answer. I just had that to make sure that you're not going to face any problem. This is something that you practice when you review. The next thing that we want to work would be the stack. And the stack, as you know better than me, is going to be first in, last out, or last in, first out. It's like having a give me a second, sorry. Okay. I gave you the example before that it's like having, it's like, it's like doing the dishes, and whenever you wash the dishes, the last one is going to be on top. If you want to dry, you're gonna start from the top. The actual examples that we have in real life is like going to web pages, right? So imagine that you go to any Microsoft, for instance. I'm gonna say Microsoft, and I go to collections, for example, and I click on something, and I click on something else. This is like the stack. Then I'm going to say back, and then I'm going to say back again to get to where I have started. Does that make sense? Yeah, exactly. The other application that we can find for it would be calling a method, and we have nested methods, or something like Fibonacci when we have recursive function. So whatever you have on top, it's going to return to one before that, and then the result is going to go one before that, and so on and so forth. That kind of example. So to use this, let's have slide number 42. Please copy everything here and just bring it there. We use push to add India. So India is going to be the first, then Nepal after India, then Canada on top of Nepal, and Australia on top of Canada, and Japan at the end. So which one is going to be on top? Japan. So if you say that, show me the country in countries, Japan should be first, then Australia, and so on and so forth. But what if I say pick? Guys, if you see my hand, if I say pick, it's like showing the card, and after that, bring the card back to your card set. Pick is like that, but pop means showing the card and put it aside. So if I say what is on top, you're gonna say what. If I say pick means Japan, show the Japan on the list, and then bring it back. But if you say pop means bring Japan, show it, and then take it out of the stack. So that is why if after that you said that what is the card on top, it's going to be Australia. So if you run the code, now you can see the reasons, and you can just see how it works. But take your time. Okay. Whenever you could finish it and you understand the whole concept, please give me the first high five. Type 5. Thank you, Dennis. Manav, Kalu, Chokan, Sergey, Arin, Nikas, Rishi, Rav. Awesome. Okay. Let's go to the next one. And I just made some challenges. What about this one? The next, as you see, is a queue. And well, technically, as the name suggested, would be, thank you, Ivan, would be something like that. That's a queue. So if we have a queue like that, the first one in the queue should be the first one who get into the bus, right? And that is going to be first in, first out, first receive the service, that kind of concept. So everybody, please copy this example. That is the last example. And just get to here. We need to know that if you say, it's exactly like that, you say NQ to add these countries into the list. So India, Australia, Canada, Japan, and Mexico. So India is the first in the list, and then followed by Australia and so on. So if you say pick, this time India is going to be the one that is going to show up on the list. And then if I say DQ means okay, that's the time to provide service for India. And then the next one on top of the list would be Australia, right? So if then you say that pick is going to show this time Australia. Let's just see the result. That's what I expected. India, Australia, Canada, Japan, and Mexico. When you use the for each right here. And then after saying pick, it's going to show India, but it's going to bring it back to the list. But when you say DQ means that provides service. One example that we could have for that is using printer in an organization. Imagine that we have one printer for the whole class, for the whole office, and then whoever sends the task first is going to receive the response first. Okay, that kind of things. By saying that, technically we finish the collection, and we are, let me just save all I have done. And I quickly go through the next part, which is going to be events. I'm not going to take time to go through the slides. I just want to tell you one simple example. For the text part, actually, let me show you that I have some useful websites from Microsoft, C# Corner, and so on. And there are some useful videos that you can watch them at your convenience. The first two would be kind of agile, so watch them at your convenience if you can. But the other thing that I want to share with you would be this. Let's have one real example together. Imagine that we have a nurse and we have some babies that the nurse is responsible to take care of them. So what are the things that a nurse could be responsible for? Let's just imagine if they're hungry, she needs to, or he needs to take care of their hunger. If they need to get changed in terms of diaper, they need to take care of that. Or a nurse needs to take care of the sickness based on the, for instance, temperature and so on. Should do something. That kind of concept. Okay. There is one way of doing that, and the thing is, you go to the first baby and check. Ask the baby, okay, are you hungry? Do you want any change? Or are you sick? And go to the next baby, and go to the next baby, and go to the next baby. And if they have no problem, they're gonna cause problem by starting crying, right? So that's not a proper way. And it's gonna be a kind of infinite loop, because when you get to the last one, you have to start all over again and ask the same questions from the first person, first baby, second, and so on. And it's gonna be a cumbersome process. Well, actually, the best mechanism is what nature provided for us, and that is the cry. So if a baby cries, you're gonna just go to this baby to see what is happening, and immediately you can understand if they need to get changed, if they suffer from fever or something, or if they need to get feed. Does that make sense? That's exactly like event-driven mechanism. Instead of having a loop and go and check the first one, check the second one, check the third one, and so on and so forth. You might say that that is obvious. We should always do that. Surprisingly enough, this method, which looks very obvious, was not something that they did in the first 30, 40 years of programming. They checked everything, and it was a kind of never-ending loop. What are the usages that we have? That is exactly the essence of what we are going to deal with pretty soon after having a 10-minute break by starting a calorie word called GUI. Okay, guys, definitely in person is something totally different. I can completely understand, but I want to get your feedback. Could you follow? Could you do the things that we needed to cover till this moment? If yes, please give me another high five. Lovely. Merci. Awesome. So thank you very much. You're awesome, guys. I'm going to before I'm going to keep 10 minutes, so don't worry for that. I'm going to open my mic, my speaker. So is there anyone who has any question, concern? Sergey, can you please talk for a sec?
Yes, Professor, I don't have any questions. It's very clear.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I just wanted to double check the speaker with your nice voice. So thank you very much. So I'm going to just go for 10 minutes. Let's say at 7:42, we are going to continue our journey. I'm going to mute myself and the cam. Thank you. Okay, let's continue. Before anything, I want to tell you that as you have already received this notif, I provided the ability for you to just pick one of the last two assignments, and you can just pick to do both of them or just one of them if you have already completed everything. But if anyone wants to challenge themselves, I'm going to appreciate if you have already 8 out of 8. It's 9 out of 9. So you're going to get 25% complete mark plus 4% for as a bonus for extra job that you have done. So I'm going to pick the top, and if you already have all of them, then I'm going to just appreciate with bonus marks. Apart from that, we are going to continue in the coming session with the link. And first, we are going to start a hands-on practice in the class, and then we are going to get to the link part. And that would be pretty much what we are going to cover for the semester. Without any further delay, let's just get to this part. As you see at the beginning of this text file, I have provided, sorry, I think that this is good. I have provided some tutorials for you, and they are in general, they're not just for GUI. And after that, I said, okay, these are the websites that you can use for GUI. Some of them are very much nice and neat, like step by step. Let me show you a few of them. And it shows you, go to, this is a combination of video and text, and it says where to go, and how to drag and drop, get your, it's like walking you through the steps. And apart from it, the others as well. So I'm not going to just bring you one by one into these steps. And there is one that I have mentioned, I already copied for you, and I mentioned that for the calculator, I just made a joke because I wanted to say this one is the best. I mean, to just work on the calculator, the last project. So this is the Amazon choice, but this is another amazing. This is two-part presentation, and you're gonna enjoy. And guys, you're gonna make your own version just like them, and you're going to have people who are gonna just learn from you too. Apart from it, I decided to merge another resources that I considered as the last file. I merged it with here. And there are some awesome videos that you can just benefit from. They are in the GUI as well. By saying that, everyone, please close your Visual Studio IDE, and then, my apologies, open a new one. And don't, please don't go any further. Wait. This time we are going to search, I'm sorry. This time we are going to search for Windows Form application. Before getting any further, let me just double check with my colleague, Sergey, everything is fine?
Yeah, looks amazing.
Excellent, thank you very much. I'm gonna, by the way, I'm going to mute the thing, just not to have a ding of the presence or leave of the participants. Okay, look at this one. GUI came to the market almost in 1995 when the Windows 95 came to existence. The very first version of GUI, graphical user interface application, was Visual Basic. Before that, I tell you guys, it took a heck of a time to just create something very simple, like just one form, one simple form that we are going to create in no time. It took something like weeks for us to, well, for previous generations, it shows my age as well. So it took a heck of a time to just create something like a simple form, which is like this now. Let's go together and see what is happening here. Please read these things, but the first thing that we want to do is just one heads up, you're gonna see tons of errors. The best is just close your application and then start from the scratch. You're gonna see that scratch a lot. So when you say create, I'm gonna say here my GUI 01. You're gonna go to 010 tonight. And then, oh, I'm sorry, not here. Here I'm gonna say Windows Form. Yeah, and I'm gonna pick this one. Guys, I already had that, but I just wanted to show you how to find. So Windows Form, make sure that you're gonna choose C#, not anything else. And then if you say next, here, say my GUI, for example, 01. And then if you say next, it takes a few seconds, kind of a little bit more than console application. And after that, you're gonna see a beautiful colory world of GUI. Whoever could see their GUI already, guys, still, it says that waiting for IntelliSense to finish initializing. Whoever could see the form, a gray form, please type 1. Garv, Jainam, Manav, Chokan. So it shows that your computers are faster than mine. Oh boy. That's bad. Okay. Notif for me to change my computer. Look, here you can just simply change the size of this guy and simply run. Isn't it wonderful that simply by pressing F5 or running, you're gonna have nice, neat form. And then simply press on that and you're gonna get back to the code environment. Some of you might not have this toolbox. Worry not. And you just need to say Control-Alt-T. And it's going to bring you the toolbox. Where are you? Toolbox. Or view here is going to be toolbox. Sorry, Control-Alt-X. Control-Alt-X, and it's going to bring you this one. Or you can simply go to view and then bring that thingy here. The other thing is, if you see that all of them are like that, don't worry. We mostly use the common controls. We mostly use common controls. And you might say that, Reza, where is the code kind of thing? Let me just see if I missed anything to explain. Look, 5 here. And don't worry. Okay, where is this thingy? Look, if you go to this part, the right side, it's going to show you the program CS. You can double click on this one and it's going to show you, there we go. We have static class program, and then we have static void main. How about the form that we have? Look at this one. If you double click on the form and if you go to the CS part of it, wow. Wow. You have lots of things happening behind the scene. But okay, let me just close these guys. Also close this main that I have in program. And simply for a starter, we are going to drag and drop. Guys, there are 2 ways. You can, oh, actually 3 ways, more than 3 ways, but one of the ways. We want to have one button. I can double click on the button and there is one button here. Everybody, double click on the button and drag and drop to the position that you like. Then delete it. The other is click on the button, then drag and drop. That's another. And okay, what else? The other one is when you, okay, forget about it, the other one. I double click on this and then I drag and drop it here, for instance. And then, guys, we have 2 things on the right side. One of them is the name, and the other one is the text. Both of them, they show button 1. I show you again. And guys, if it is not like that, if it is like this, so you can just say based on the category. Please, yeah, finally. Or you can say alphabetically. I'm sorry. Give me a sec, please. Okay. So The first one, which shows that the name is something that we use in the coding. Don't worry, we are going to talk about it. So normally we say BTN because in the code, wherever you see BTN, you can understand it is a button. And if I say OK, it's an OK button. But if I click anywhere, you see nothing is changed here. Another thing, if I click here, it's going to show the properties of the form. If I click on the button, it's going to show the properties. Guys, do you see properties? Isn't it familiar? So properties of the button. And we can see exactly everything in C# is either, yeah, you know that. And if we go here on the text, we are going to say OK. And look at here, we have an OK button. Let me just make it OK. Is it OK? Let's just change the font size into, where is the font? Here it is. We can just say, how about 18? And then that's fine. Okay. And then let's just, but there is one thing I have seen sometimes, if I run that, it's going to be an OK button. Well, technically, till this moment, it's not going to do anything for us. Right? You can just click and it does nothing because we haven't written any code behind it. And the other thing is, if I press Alt, nothing is going to happen here. Alt key. Look, I click on this again. And then in the text part, I'm going to say ampersand and OK. And let's run it again together. This time, if I press Alt, you see that OK is going to get underlined, right? And if you press O, it's going to trigger that. But because we haven't written any code for it, it does nothing technically. Huh? Let's create another. Let's create another key. Isn't it wonderful? I just dragged and drop. I pressed Control and I created something like this. Let's call it BTN cancel, right? And I go down and I say, well, I'm not going to use C, ampersand C, because I want to keep C for some other, for instance, things. How about N? Cancel. How about L? So I'm going to say can sell, but before L, I'm going to say ampersand LE. Right? E actually. L. And done. Do you see that here it says that L is, let me just look. If I press Alt here, it shows that whether you can choose O for OK or L for cancel. And for the first time, let's just double click on this. Double click on cancel. And then say this dot. And if I say CLOSE and finish, then if I just run it again and look at it, if you click on this, it's going to close the whole application. And if you just say Alt and L, it does exactly the same thing, right? Guys, feel free, take your time. And whenever you are done with these two, this .close is the code behind that. Please type 3. Rows, super rapid. It shows that your practices on calculator helps. Wow. Rose, Garv, Irene, Arafat, Cholkan, Sergey, Dennis, Manav, Ivan. Okay, awesome. Let's and there's just one thing. I'm going to create another thingy and let's call it test. Okay. So what should I do? I should say btn test. I know that nothing is going to change. And I'm going to go down. Where is the thingy? Anybody? Oh, I found it. So it's going to be test like this. But look, guys, the other way that I can simply trigger this one, trigger test, is having a tab. But look at the problem that I have here. If I run the code and I press tab, tab is in here, okay. Okay. Actually, it didn't. I wanted to show a problem. Imagine now it is. Okay, the scenario, I need to change the scenario. The cancel is here. The test is here. Okay, now you can see the problem. And that is something that you're gonna see a lot because you create tons of things. Look, cancel, okay, then test. I want to start from okay, then cancel, then test. Does that make sense? So you see, it is not the order that I want for tab. Imagine that is the thing. Okay, how I can change that? Guys, look, if I click on OK, then if I go to tab index, it's going to show you 0. Tab index for cancel, tab index for cancel should be 1, and tab index for test should be 2. That sort of order. And here now, if I start using tab, look, it is going like this, correct? And if I say enter on when it is when the focus is on cancel, then it's going to just close the thing. What if I don't want cancel to receive any tab? In that case, I select cancel, and I'm going to say tab stop is not equal to true, so it's going to be false. And if I run it, look at the beautiful results. In that case, I'm going to have tab. It's just going to be either OK or test. Cancel is not going to receive any. Still, the Alt works and show O, L, and T. Take your time. Practice all these things. And whenever you are done, give me another high five. Harv? Lipa? Kanjan? Dennis? Manov? Arafat? Jainam? Shokan? Okay. Let me just get back to the slides and see if I missed anything so far, because I want to make sure that I covered everything. Okay, this is the first, and then we said okay. The difference between text and name, we know it. We created here I mentioned that name. This is how a control is referred or referenced in code. All controls that is referenced, all controls that is referenced, that are referenced should be. Or I have to say every. Naming convention. Guys, the naming convention is not something just simple saying that, hey, this is, I tell you, whenever I was part of a project, and then they told us we spent something like 1 week or more just to have conventions for how to name these, how to name our variables and so on. So it is not something that I say, okay, LBL always. It is really depends on your team and whatever you feel comfortable with your group. Okay. Let's go to the next part together. Well, for the text box, we use TXT normally, or for buttons, BTN, for labels, LBL. For combo box, what is combo box, you may ask? Guys, these guys that they can get opened, they are combo boxes, right? Well, the text is something that you can just enter. Enable, visible. What's the difference between enable and visible? Let's just make test invisible. So if I say visible equal to false, not very much recommended, then, and let's make cancel disable by going to enable and say enable equal to false. I got aged. Okay, I found it finally. And I keep denying using my glasses. Look at this one. Now you see that the thingy, it shows that I cannot press cancel, and that is why I cannot close the program, and there is no sign of test because it is hidden. The visible is false. So for having one of the ways, I'm not saying that that's the best, for the scientific calculator, one of the things that you can do is to have a few functionalities like cosine, sine, tan, for tangent, and these kind of things, or factorial, whatever you want to add as either functionality, and then just say visible equal to true or false, that kind of thing, right? So if you say click on scientific, if it is scientific, then make all those guys visible, else make all those guys invisible. You know what I'm saying? It could be a kind of toggle button, and just search for toggle button, what it is, I don't know, and it can help you. The other thing is using different tabs, and you might say, what are tabs? And we are going to see that in no time. Well, let's just bring back to normal. Okay, so let's this guy visible, this guy enable, done. And slide 15. Okay. Tab stop, guys, you remember that I said tab stop and tab index. Sometimes you want to add some functionalities to these keys. For instance, you check something. There is one thing beautiful. You're going to use it later just to know it now. You see that there is one thing here, and it is tag. Okay, you can check, for instance, if tag is equal to 1, you just save 1 here. And it's not going to show anywhere anything. You can just keep running it as a kind of normal thing. But you can check if tag is equal to 1, then do this, else do the other thing, right? You see, I didn't define anything for it, so it's not going to impact on the functionality. But you can use that. So tag is a kind of extra thing or a control that you can use it later in your program. That's it. And did I talk about tab stop? Yes. How about using it? We saw that. So for instance, that is why, guys, 0, 1, 2, for instance. So the tab index of this guy should be 2, 1, and 0. This dot close, that is something that we have written for it. And then, guys, this is something that, oh, no, you have the code, so I cannot say you don't. Try not to see this. The next slide, and make such a thing happen. Spend 1 minute. Whenever you click on OK, or we test a, yeah, whenever you click OK, it asks you that, hello from Reza, do you want to exit? And if you say yes, for instance, you exit, that kind of thing. Did I write it for? Okay, button, yes. Don't look at slide number 2. And whenever you're done, just type done. Okay, let's just get to this and look at the code. I'm sorry. I simply try to drag and drop these lines. Something happened. Let me just see. This one is not running. Okay, let me just close this. and open it again. Save, maybe. Here's slide number 23, 22. And yes, this time it works. And then look what is happening in here. In OK button, I'm gonna write, we say that let's have a dialog result in result. And then we say, let's have a message box dot show, and then say, hello from Reza, do you want to exit? And this one, the second parameter is a dialog box title. And then here is yes, no kind of thing. Is it possible to have other thingies? Look at this one. If I say dot, you can see there are tons of options, like, well, a few options, like, okay, cancel, yes, no, cancel, cancel, try, continue, and so on. So I'm gonna say yes, no. And in that case, if the result is equal to dialog box result.yes, and then show, well, it shows error. No error, right? Then close the dialog. Look at this one. If I click on OK, it's gonna say, we test a message box and hello from Reza. Do you want to exit? If I say no, so nothing happens. But if I say yes, ta-da, it's gonna close this application, right? You have the code in the footpot and the footnote of the slide. So whenever you are done with that, you test it and you get the result. Please type 1. Manal, Dennis, Irene, Kanjan, Wang, Sergey. Good. Great. So the controls, we didn't work with text box yet. Labels, guys, labels are the easiest. So imagine whenever you want to have something and you just drag and drop the labels. You can just change the font color, whatever. And you can just say LBL, where is it? Where are you? So say LBL, my app title, you know, and then here I'm just fabricating, saying that calculator, and then you can just get to the font size, make it bold, italic, don't be regular. Okay. And then how about the font color? Let's just make it not my favorite colors among them yet. Okay. Come on. You're gonna find the color later. And then let's go to the next thing. Label button, list box, combo box. Okay, guys, list box is a combo box that is just always visible. When you have enough space on your screen and you don't need to hide and make it small, so you can just simply use list box. If you want to use your screen wisely, like here, you just use combo box. If it was always open, it's just list box. That's the difference. Okay, let's create our first calculator, and let's have, let me borrow this, and that is, what's the name of the text num01? Okay, text num01. I'm gonna remember. And text num0. Okay, so I just want to follow the same regulations. Let's have this one, and let's have, I'm sorry. Guys, I'm lazy. What is it, BTN? Okay, I'm gonna say BTN sum. Hopefully the name is that. And then I'm gonna say it is just plus. Yep. And then let's drag and drop two text boxes. Let's change the font size. Make it about 24. Okay. And then what was the name? I said result, remember it. Okay. This one is going to be, whatchamacallit, go up, name. And let's have another one here. And let's have another one here. It's like a robot. And done. And let's go to the button 10. Where is the thingy? Oh, the name of this one should be changed. If I haven't changed, I think that I haven't. Did I say BTN sum? Yes, I did. That's scary. It should be BTN sum. Let's get rid of all this. In sum, you should be. And then copy this part here. Hopefully it's not going to explode. And then we are going to just run. It explodes. And normally when it cannot do the stuff, it brings us back to where we have started. So give me a second again. If I can't resolve, that is something that I told you, it shows the problem and it says that, hey, we don't have such a thing. And then you need to delete and then go through all those things, which is ridiculous. And then you're gonna say, hey, can you please, I just go through this ridiculous process once in front of you, but normally the best is just, yeah, is just better to, what was it? What was the name of that thingy? BTN sum, right? And let me just go to the code and have that Control X and get rid of this one. And where is it? You're gonna see tons of this. My suggestion is always copy the code somewhere. So BTN sum. et and add. I need to change many things. Okay, finally. And let's say plus, where are you? Yeah. And then saying the font size is 48, and then you're done. Okay. That kind of thing. Good. And if we run the application, it's going to show you this. And then if I say 10 and 2, it's going to say the summation. What did we do? We said that, okay, go to the text num1, which is this one, and convert it to integer. Do the same thing for text2. Add those two values together and save it into res variable. And then we're going to say, convert that into string. Yes, you can do everything in one line, but forget it. And then you say text number 3 dot text is what you're going to pass this one into it. Guys, honestly, I intentionally showed you the process of fixing, but if it was a class and if you show me something, I would say that just close it and open it again. You saw that it's not a pleasant. I didn't say that I intentionally made that mistake. No, that happened, but I didn't say close it and just because I wanted to say, yes, it is possible to save, to bring it back, but it's not an easy process. I always suggest have a text box, a text file like this. Say, this is for some and like this. So easily you can, in your final exam, you have two parts. One would be the things similar to midterm and double quiz. The other thing is going to be GUI. So part A, part B. And then for part B, when you see these kind of errors, don't panic. Just simply use this strategy, okay? If you could just add two things like that and see the result like what we did, please type 2. Thank you, Mano. Sergey, Irene, Rob, Dennis, Raja. Okay, guys, hungry people left me. Jaina. Okay, let's go to next part. Okay, this is one version. This is another version. And yeah, the same thing. And let's talk about, well, checkbox, ready button, numeric, up, down kind of thing. And I already, in this slide, we have some of these things. And in another place, yes, there, you can see I have used some of these. So slide number 50, 51 actually, all the way to the end, there are some usages that you're going to actually and practically use in your calculator. And I'm going to show you the rest quickly. My apologies. Yeah, we have covered everything all to this part. So labels, I have already showed you what is the usage of the labels button. We have gone through it. And then now we want to make the button, actually we don't need that. Yeah. Didn't use that. Yes. Slide number 29, slide number 30, and slide number 31, they are all the same. Technically, I just want to have something like the test button, when I click on test, then it shows something like that. Guys, listen to this. If OK, if BTN OK is enabled, then disable it. If it is disabled, then enable it and show the content. For that one, I need to, not to get confused with everything, I need to just change a code a little bit. Okay, let's just do one thing, guys. What I really don't like to do, but let me just do it. Close, say yes, because it's going to show you lots of errors. I don't want to waste our time. So I'm going to say create a new project. And I'm going to say Windows application, Windows form application, my GUI test 01, for example. Next, create. And I just want to show a few buttons. So let's have cancel, test. What are they? Okay, cancel and test. My estimation is we are going to have, with 5 minutes break that we're going to have in a few minutes, we are going to have less than 45 minutes, less than an hour for sure to finish today's class, just to let you know and to give you a heads up. And honestly, feel free whenever you feel tired or something, so you can just simply watch the recorded session at your convenience. So here I'm going to say BTN. Oh, sorry. Okay. BTN. Okay. The last thing that I'm gonna just fix is the font size, that it can be visible for you guys. Okay. And then it's gonna be okay. What I'm gonna do is in the test one, let's just to save the time, let's just copy this one. We simply say if the BTN OK is enabled, then just make it disable by saying that it's equal to false. Else, just make it true. And then we say that the state of that, if it is enabled, bring enable into string state, else bring disable, and say in the message box that the button is either enable or disable. and we're gonna say, okay, status state. Why I just use? I'm sorry. Okay, and we have just only OK button, and that's it. Let's just see how it works. So we wrote it for test. It shows that button is disabled, button is, and then if I check, it says that button is enabled. That kind of thing. So you can just play around with it like that. Okay. And that is from slide number 31. Okay. Whenever you could finish this one and everything works fine. Yeah, that kind of thing. Then please. Yeah, then please just type 3. That's slide number 31. Thank you, Garth. Who else? You need to have just 2 buttons for this practice, whatever it is. You can just open a new btn1, btn2. So you click on btn2 and you say if btn1.enable, then change it to false, else change it to true, and then show the thing, a message box. Manov. Guess what? One of the co-hosts, I'm not gonna tell the name, guys. Maybe man get mad at me. One of the co-hosts already left. I think he is, yeah, I think he's dinner now. What a kind of co-host. Okay, guys. This is the code. I'm gonna copy and paste the code. Hopefully this time you're gonna make it work. Okay, so 2 birds, 1 stone. Guys, let's do it this way. Now it is 8:40. Let's have 10-minute break. But you have time to go through things to make it work. So when I come back, hopefully more number of people could say that they could finish it. Okay? So I'm going to mute myself and stop the cam and pause the video. Thank you. Okay, I resume the video. C# champions. Let's just create another code. Let's just get back to the form that we have. This time, let's double click on the OK. And then I just want to make it a little bit nicer. So instead of ampersand OK, for this one, let's say OK. And I wrote, let's create, guys, this is not something new. Let's create a button called BTN, whatever the button is, right? And then we say, whenever you click on that, you say that you have clicked the button.text. Let's see how it works. I can just say BTN dot, I don't know, font size of it or the name of it or whatever. But for the sake of this example, I just wanted to say which button is clicked, right? I guess our friend became a little bit tired, so it takes more time. That is why before the class I reset it. So you see that you have clicked the OK button. You created what? One BTN. Actually, now we understand that what is the sender? Sender is going to be the object that we are dealing with. In this case, it's going to be button, OK button. And we say that you have that's creating an object, which is going to be in the class of button, the one that we clicked. And then we say that that button.text, which is OK, is clicked here. Does that make sense? Okie doke. By saying that, we get to the next place. And in that place, where is the slide? Slide number 33. Guys, as you see, I have chosen this picture and it caused some people to leave Centennial. So I changed it to another picture. So what you need to do is get back to form. And this time we have something which is called image. Where are you, image? Or it's a photo, sorry, picture box. So click on that and just make it like this. And guys, I have already mentioned that in the thingy, in the footnote, what to choose. But here, if you click on the image, you can simply have that box. I'm gonna show you again. In the image, it says none. You can simply click on that and say, you can have local source as well. So say import. And I have one image from before that I saved it somewhere handy. So I click that and say, okay, but it's not gonna show a full picture. And that is because of the size mode. So first you choose a picture that you want, and then you go to size mode and just make it a stretch, for example, or whatever works the best. I think that this is cute. Okay, so choose that one. And then welcome, Aisha. And then after that, Yeah, that's what I said. Hey, hello. We want to show something else, and that is the tab. Okay, guys, first, make sure that this works. Huh? Intentionally, I just clicked on that and you see that OK button still works, right? And let me just write something for cancel, like this, dot, close, okay? But imagine that you have a good number of things on your screen and you cannot fit them all in one place. That is why we use tabs like this one. You see, these are the tabs. So if you want to have all of them in one shot, it's going to be a screen way bigger than this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times bigger than this, and not easy to find. So how we can just use tabs? That's the question. So I need to first bring all these guys somewhere. Imagine that I want to have buttons in one. And that is why in the containers, we have this tab. You can double click and then I'm going to make it bigger. You can make it feel the whole thing. And you see that tab page 1. So you can just click on this one and change the name of that, and change the name of this one. Each of these texts, you can just change them, right? But the thing is to just accelerate. We are going to 1, 2, 3. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Control X, and I bring it to tab 1, Control V. How to size them, how to change to align them all together. The good thing for this, we have something like called format, so you can just say make this size the same, horizontal spacing equal. So that kind of format could happen there. And let's go to the next, guys. This is just a very quick GUI session, so have that one there. And when I run that, first I have forgotten to bring them into, okay. I needed to make it like this to make it nice, neat, right? And then when I click here, but if I click, you see that this one or this one doesn't work. That's what I wanted to show you. In that case, when we click and double click on OK, we see that the name is slightly changed, the BTN click OK. So you need to bring the code. Guys, if I delete that, it's going to just give us hard time. So I'm just, and I need to fix a few things. So I'm lazy for doing those things now. And look at this one now. I forgot to do one thing. This is almost important too. Actually, to defend my computer, I want to tell you my computer is not that much slow, but whenever I have a streaming like Zoom, it takes more time. don't do that. Sometimes it shows something like this, and you need to reset as suggested, and hopefully this guy is going to solve the issue. But after the changes that I have done, if I click on OK, you're going to see then the button is going to work. If I click on cancel, it's going to work. So right now, I run it. The best thing, I did all these mumbo jumbo to show you one thing. The best is to have a wire framing, to have a prototype, and just search about prototype. That's something that you need to do when you want to have web designing. And make sure that, okay, if I click now on OK, it's going to work. And if I click on cancel, it's going to just do the job. So first, draw the things. Make sure that if you are going to use tap, or if you're going to use, for instance, splits, or if you are going to use panel, whatever you want to use, and then design for each of them what you need to have, because after that, if I just click and bring a button over there, it's going to just work for this one. Let me show you one thing, and it's going to be part of the slides. If I say radio button here, and if I say another radio button there, right? And if I say another radio button, so you know the difference between checkboxes and radio buttons, guys. Typing the code would be super easy. Imagine that I have a categories like that, and I'm lazy. I'm going to just say the items that I want to have for text. It's going to be red, green, and blue. And I want to have another, imagine that it's something like an Amazon or Temu, that you want to order your stuff. And you're going to pick, where is the other thingy? I just clicked on that. Okay, radio button. And here I have another things. Imagine that here I want to say small, and we have two sizes, for example, just to ease the job. And whatchamacallit, large. So if I run, the problem is, if I select the first group, red, green, blue, it's going to work fine. But if I click on a small, no, I want to have either a small or large. And the color could be that kind of thing. So what should I do to have two different groups for such a thing? You see the problem? So in that sense, I need to have, let me just bring them all a little bit towards here. Then I need to have something that we call it group box. Guys, you can just change the name of group box. We are in rush. So these are things that you are, better than me. So I'm going to just say Control X, and I bring these guys into here. And I can leave them outside. Guys, you can hide the border of this guy too if you don't like, just you want to technically group them, but without showing the things. You have border style that you can just get rid of the thingy. You can get rid of group box text over there like this, right? And even without having a second group box, let's see what's going to happen. If I just choose any of them or any of them, they're in two different groups and they're not going to interfere each other. So just play around with this. Take a few minutes, and then whenever you are done, give me a second last high five when you are done. Did I continue the video? Yes. What happened? Okay, very simple. If you left behind for any reason or your form doesn't show, please just open a new GUI, Windows Form application, and create something like this. Just drag and drop some radio buttons and make another group box and drag and drop those into a new group box. Okay. Thank you, Manav, Garv, Chokan, Mana, Kanjan. Wailung, how about you? Enes? Okay, awesome. Good. So guys, by saying that, I covered slide number 49 and 50. Getting back to where we left off. So we wanted to talk about, guys, these are slides that I quickly went through, nothing new. So I just wanted to say 2 tabs, and this is the numerical thing that it's going. I'm going to show you this. Where is the thingy? In common. Well, let's just have in the properties, add one tab 3, and I wanted to add one list box. Let's combo box first. Combo box. So here we have a combo, and then we are going to get to, yeah, there we go. In the combo box, in the form load, we are going to have, a definition of combo box items. We add those. We can just add it manually as well. Let's change the name of the combo box to this one. It's slide number 41. What I did, I just added one combo box. I changed the name to CBO designation. You can find everything in the note part of slide number 41. And then if you double click on this one, it shows you the code that's selected index change, and you paste the code saying that you have selected and some items, but we didn't add any item. For adding the items in the form load, let's add this one. How we can get to the form load? Very simple. Get to here, double click on the, oh no, on the, not the page one. I'm sorry. Click on this part. That's the form load. And paste that in the form load. You can simply just make a little bit room for, there we go. And if you run the code, what's going to happen is going to be like this. If you want to ease the job for yourself, you can simply just open a new form. You don't have then. What's happened? My apologies. I'm repeating that because of exactly these kind of things. I reset my computer before coming to this session, because whenever you work with GUI, and especially when I have Zoom and streaming, there's a big chance that we have all these struggles. If that happens, I'm going to open quickly a new. Let's just try one more time. Okay. My apologies. And then if I go to this one and if I change the selection, it's going to show you what is selected. So getting back to the code, we just said here, whenever we click and check the selection, you say message box. Let's just have it nicer, neater. We say that message box dot show you have selected combo box dot selected item, and you need to change it to string to be able to show it in the message box, because message box can show just strings, right? That kind of stuff. Let's go and create. I'm gonna quickly create another project and make just two things in it. One would be a button, let's say BTN test. And the other one, we are gonna drag and drop and create one combo box, name CBO weekdays. So I just did that because I wanted to make sure that, yeah, so let's just say create a new project. And console application, oh, sorry, no, Windows Form application. My last GUI for today. Those who already have started, you can just go to, yeah, slide number 43 and follow the instructions over there. BTN, okay. And then let's have a, where's the combo box? I cannot, even my brain doesn't work today, combo CABC. So that's the name of the combo. And yeah, that's fine. And that's numerical up down that I showed you. I told you, but I didn't show you. Let's just have this one here too, and double click on OK. And then you just simply need to say, this is a nicer way of saying, so I added just a little bit of a string. But in the form initialization, we need to add this part, add items like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So guys, technically, I just dragged and dropped one combo box. I changed the name to CBO weekdays. And then here in the form initialization, we are going to add those days into it. And whenever you click on OK button, it's going to show you, it says that this .combo weekdays .get item text, right? And then you get all those things that you have selected and you place it into, guys, it says that combo weekdays, that's selected item. And then you're going to get everything into one item and show it in the message box. Let's go and see how it works. You have selected Thursday. And this is the guide that I told you. You can just say the steps is 10. For instance, it's going to be 0, 10, 1, 10, and so on. The other thing is, what if instead of all of these guys, let me just do one thing. If I just say list, and let's call, what's the name of this guy? It was CBO. For this one, I'm gonna say LST, list weekdays. And as you know, because I'm lazy, I'm going to copy exactly the same thing. And instead of this one, I'm gonna say what? LST and Control C, and I can use rename Sergey, but you know I'm lazy. You know it is easier. And then here I'm going to say, look, again, LST, and then show. Didn't I tell you they are exactly the same? They're not the same. They are exactly the same. And this time, guys, yes, we have these guys here. I'm going to say Monday, but this time I'm going to say Friday. And what is going to show, it's going to get the item from the list and it's going to say Friday. Does that make sense? So you have the whole code and in front of you, and you have the whole thing. And whenever you could finish everything, please type 3. Thank you, Dennis. Sergey, Manav, Irene, Garv. Okay, Felipe, sorry, I didn't see your name. Vana, bravo. Look, wow. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Garv, Irene, Sergey, Manav, Dennis, Chokan, Wailang. Okay. I was lost in the last part. Don't worry, don't worry. That is absolutely normal. Let me just quickly show you these things. You have the code, you have the slide. Don't worry at all. That is totally fine. So in slide number 41, we tried the list box. Combo box. I need food. And then that's how we just, when we changed it, it shows that it is, for instance, faculty, course, and so on. Then we brought one button here. That is the button. We had one combo box. We added items in the initial part when you initialize the form. So whenever you select anyone and click on test, it's going to get the selected item and bring it into the item and show it, right? Then list box does exactly the same. So we initialize the values. And for instance, here I say choose breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Or in this example, we just used the list box exactly. I just said challenge yourself. Just you need to change the list. You need to drag and drop one list, change the name, and just add them into it. And by doing that, guys, this is the combo box that this is the radio button that I have told you. This is the form that I said is a combination of everything that we have worked. And you can just bring checkbox. You can select more than one checkboxes at a time. And the rest is just quickly go through it. But what I expect to know is all the way up to page 51. By saying that, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. I know that it was not a time for the class, and I didn't expect it to have almost good number of friends participating. I appreciate it. Just take care of yourself. If there is any concern, any question, please let me know. Otherwise, we are gonna meet on either Friday morning or Saturday morning or Saturday evening. Feel free to join any section that works for you the best. Any question? If everything is fine, give me the last high five. Have a good one. Take care of yourself. Ciao. Bye. Bye, everyone. Take care. Bye. My pleasure. Take care, Sergey. Thank you. Bye.